All right, here we go. Let me plug the joint. Most women have engaged, will engage, or are currently, as I'm speaking right now, engaging in casual sex encounters. Again, most women either have engaged, in past tense, will engage, future tense, or are currently engaging in casual sex activities, present tense. Most women. Now, when we say most, right, most is subjective, okay? Whether it's 50%, 51%, 55, 60%, 75%, I don't know what the real number is. I just know that most women. Now, do you have a small percentage of women who have not engaged in casual sex encounters? A small percentage of women? Certainly. I would argue that there is a small percentage of women who do not or have not engaged in casual sex encounters. But I'm telling you that most women have, will, or are currently doing so right now. Okay, and the reason why this needs to be spoke about, because you men, y'all need to wake the fuck up. Y'all need to wake up. Okay, I don't care what you read about in the Bible, the Torah, the Quran, or whatever religious text you subscribe to. I don't care what it says in there. In the real world, away from religion, away from the internet, in the real world, women are fucking. Now, part of the reason why I'm even talking about this is I saw a comment underneath a live stream. So shout out to the homie, Mr. Lucario. He did a live stream, and there was a question that a guy asked. And the question that the guy was asking was basically him trying to insinuate that women are not biologically inclined to have sex with multiple men at the same time. Or that women are not biologically inclined to desire variety. Right? That's essentially what he was trying to get to. Let me tell y'all something. Monogamy is not natural for either sex. It's not natural for women, and it's not natural for men. It's not. And it has never been. Monogamy and sexual exclusivity, in the way that it's presented in our society, is really a way to condition people to view sex a certain way. Okay? I need people to understand that, right? And this has been happening for thousands of years, right? Where the powers that be are trying to get the masses, society, to view sex and relationships in a certain way. But the reality of it is that society at large is not playing by those rules. Period. Right? So when I say women have engaged, will engage, or are currently engaging in casual sex encounters, guys have to understand that women go through seasons, just like men do. More so with women though. Women go through seasons. They go through ebbs and flows of what they believe they want at any given time, specifically when they're single. Okay? And what I mean by that is this. You can have a woman who gets married in her 20s. And let's say when she got married, she never ever engaged in casual sex encounters, ever. Right? She was more so of that, I gotta have a meaningful emotional bond or connection with a man first. We have to be going down the road of a relationship for me to have sex with a man. Right? You will have women who have that ideology, and then they will proceed to get into a long-term relationship or marriage relatively young, in their 20s, And they might spend 5, 10, 15, even 20 years in that relationship. And then once that relationship is over, what do you think they're going to do? In many cases, those same women who were not engaging in casual sex encounters prior to that relationship, once that relationship is over and they're in their 30s, mid 30s, early 40s, maybe a little bit older, a lot of women set out to make up for lost time. Okay, I'm not telling you what I think, I'm telling you what I know. So you'll have some women in their older age, they'll say, you know what? I never really partied when I was in my 20s. I wasn't really dating a whole bunch of guys when I was younger. Now that I'm divorced, or now that this long relationship is over, I think I'm gonna set out to enjoy myself now. All right, that happens all the time, right? So those are women who will engage in casual sex encounters. Let me just say this, and I want guys to think about this. For the most part, when women are younger, okay, high school age, as an example, do you think the majority of those women, prior to having sex for the first time, do you think the majority of those women, okay, now I'm talking about chicks who are virgins, do you think the majority of those women thought about all the dick that we're gonna be sampling? Do you think they thought about all the one night stands and weekend flings that we're gonna engage in? No. They had a conditioned way of viewing sex, like most people do. But what happens is once women start dealing with men, they start having sex, and that's the key part. When they start having sex, women start to learn a lot about themselves. They start to learn a lot more about their bodies. They start to learn a lot more about the different experiences they have with men. And let me tell you something. When women begin to truly understand the difference in great sexual experiences versus mediocre sexual experiences, women will then set out to want to replicate the great sexual experiences. And in many cases, in order to replicate those great sexual experiences, they're going to be doing so with men that they are encountering casually. I need you guys to understand this, right? So that's the women who will engage in casual sex encounters at some point, right? Now, for the women who currently engage in casual sex encounters, there are plenty of women who have a promiscuous nature to them, who are able to operate within the confines of a monogamous, sexually exclusive relationship just fine. Okay, let me say that shit again. There are women who exhibit promiscuous tendencies that are more than capable of operating within the confines of a monogamous, sexually exclusive relationship. I know that's hard for y'all to wrap your mind around it. I know it's hard. The only women, okay, and quote me on this, right? The only women who really can't engage in monogamous, sexually exclusive relationships are women who either don't want it at all, meaning they are women who prefer to be in open relationships or poly relationships, right? And you're gonna have generally two types of women, right, who fit that category. You're gonna have women who are forthcoming, they're forthright about the type of relationships they desire, meaning it's public knowledge that they prefer open relationships or poly relationships. Or you're gonna have women who have an open relationship, poly relationship mindset, but because of the public ridicule, maybe being ostracized by their family members, they will put themselves in position to be in a monogamous situation, although that's not what their heart truly desires. So you will have women who fit that category who might not be able to function in a monogamous, sexual exclusive relationship because they want variety. And here's the funny part. Notice, I didn't say anything about sexual variety. I didn't say anything about sexual variety. That's part of it. But also, there's the variety of just dealing with different men. Some women don't want to give that up, just like you have guys that deal with multiple women. I'll use myself as an example. My desire to deal with multiple women, it's not limited to sex. It's not limited to sexual variety. I mean, that's part of it. That's part of it. But look, I'm going to keep it real. Okay, I'm too much for one woman. Okay, I'm too much for one woman. Okay, and I'm not talking about sexually, right? I'm just talking about my personality, with the way I like to move and the way I like to do things. I can't bottle myself up and give all that to one woman. I'm too much. I'm too much. Okay, I gotta deal with multiple women. I got to, sexually and non-sexually, right? But my point is this. Let's get back to the joint, right? So in the situations where women are currently engaging in casual sex encounters, these women are single in most cases. Now, I'm not talking about women who cheat. That's a whole nother topic. Okay, I'm talking about single chicks who are just doing their thing. And these same women who are engaging in casual sex encounters, they could desire a more profound, meaningful relationship with one man. But until they find that one man, guess what they're gonna do? They're gonna enjoy multiple men until they can find that one man. Well, most people have to realize, whether you are a man or a woman, most people in relationships right now, they had to make sacrifices to be in a relationship. Meaning there are things they might like to do, both sexually and non-sexually, that the person that they're with right now maybe isn't into. But because they desire that relationship so bad, they're making that compromise or that sacrifice to be in that monogamous relationship. Okay, what you're finding is that more and more people, both men and women, are unwilling to compromise their wants, desires, and needs. Because the reality is that one person really can't fulfill everything that is you. Okay, let me say that shit again. The reality of it is one person cannot fulfill everything that is you. So what most people do to be compatible within that interaction, they will make accommodations, concessions, and they will compromise certain things that they like or that they're into, you know what I'm saying, at the behest of that one person that they want. Okay, this is why a lot of these relationships, they're obligated relationships, meaning it's obligated monogamy. So in order for them to get the relationship, they have to agree to be sexually exclusive. Although deep down inside, they don't want to be, right? Understand this. The reason why most people have trouble with relationships is because they're not honest with themselves as to what type of relationship that they really want. So if they're not honest with themselves, of course they're not going to be honest with their significant other. They're not going to be. Okay, this is why people get into relationships and they start cheating. Because they never wanted to be in a monogamous relationship. And they only agreed to be in a relationship because they had to get the person. This is why most relationships don't work out. This is why people are miserable. Right? This is why you have dudes that have side chicks and women that have side dudes, for that very reason. Because they want to be happy. And they know that one person can't make me happy. I got to make myself happy. In order to make myself happy, I got to do things to make myself happy. And sometimes that includes stepping outside of the relationship and dealing with other people. Right? And most people will never be honest. Okay, and that's the reality. Most people will never be honest about that. But again, most women will engage, have engaged, and are currently engaging in casual sex encounters because they love sex. They love sex, but more importantly than women loving sex, they love great sex. And here's the reality of it. Most of the men that these women are encountering aren't good in bed. They're not. So if you have a woman who is used to being sexually satisfied thoroughly, she's going to seek to have that experience again, even if it's not in a relationship, even if it's in a casual sex encounter. Believe me when I tell you that. Quote me on that. I'm out.